Last weekend, while I was doing Realm Expedition, I had just finished burning like a whole alliance, and one of them reached out to me and wanted to know not why I burned their whole alliance, but actually the only question they had was, why did I send a full march of archers with one horse? That was their question. So I want to take a minute and answer that for everybody today. A good place to test things is in the Sapphire Mines. What I like to do is to come in here and find somebody much more powerful than me that I can test my troops against. And this is a good one because he's pretty much maxed on every troop type. What I do is I come in here and I will test my march, and this is my march with one horse. So I'll take that horse out right now and I can try different combinations against him. Then you want to watch these combat videos and see how the battle itself plays out. There's a couple of really interesting things to watch here, so make sure you're paying attention to these morale bars and see how fast that is dropping. Watch the troops on the field, the order that they go out in, and watch your heroes down here and how quickly they die or don't die. Somebody much stronger than you, or maybe just a little bit stronger than you, is a good indicator. You can check the combat report and use this to see how many you lost and how many you killed, right? I lost everyone, so I might pick a slightly weaker opponent. Right now I can just focus on how effective my offense is against him using different troop combinations. So I killed 10.7%. He is running a pure cav setup, and if I check his troops, I'm going to see the same thing. Pure cav T11s down here. And this is one of those interesting cases where even top players like this make some pretty fundamental, what I will call errors, because look here, right? He's got Valerius and I've got Sodoma, and neither of them are on the field with our troops. Valerius is an all-around hero. He does not have a specific unit type. He can provide bonuses to all different unit types. He can be a chameleon, infantry, cavalry, or archer hero, depending on which kind of troops you're sending. But one thing that, again, most people do not realize is that when you are sending your heroes and you're sending all archers, I can send only 4 archer type heroes and have them do anything on the battlefield. So if I send a 5th archer type hero, let's say I sent Dolly, and now I have 5 archers. She's just sitting here again. Only 4 of them can go out because you only have 4 units, essentially, and you have 1 hero with each unit. So, to get a 5th hero on the field, what we have to do is to have at least a 5th unit. To get a 5th unit, you need a different troop type. And so what I'm doing in this case, and the reason that Sodoma is sitting here in the battles that I did previously, is because I had no cavalry. So if I am going to send this out so that I'm getting troop bonuses, she's still going to help my archer stats with this troop bonus, but she's also going to actually enter the battlefield for me. You see her back here. And when she's on the field, now she's active. And you see these fireballs going off here? These are the equivalent to your hero's 500% attack. They will do that 500% extra damage as long as they are alive in this fight. So we're still losing, but let's see how the math changes by adding in 1 cavalry. We had 10.3, now we killed 11.8 with 1 cavalry troop. Now we can test this, and I recommend you test this. There will be a sweet spot here. 3 didn't really change anything. And that's why I really only send 1. There's going to be a point where you get diminishing returns on this. So if I send a couple thousand, this number actually eventually it starts going down. I send 1 because I don't get any benefit from sending more, and if I send too many more, eventually it actually hurts me. So let's come back to Valerius for a minute, because this is a very common mistake. I see a lot of it even very experienced players make. Valerius is a troop hero. He takes on the attributes of any troops that you send, and because Bear has only sent cavalry on the field, Valerius is acting as a cavalry hero, and he is then becoming your 5th cavalry hero, and he's sitting here, not fighting. Maybe you're strong enough that it doesn't matter, that's fine. I certainly do sometimes just go with the 5 to get the highest stats possible, and especially on a den, it doesn't really matter as much, but in a PvP scenario, when you're very close with the opponent, sometimes this is enough to put you over the edge. So if all that Bear needs to do, in this case, is is add 1 troop of any other type. Anything that he could do would make Valerius active on the field and just make his attack that much stronger. I've seen this in, like I said, some really experienced people, and I'm sorry, I'm never meaning to call anybody out, but like there's 2 heroes sitting here doing nothing. This is a pure inf setup that he has sent out, and I mean, like, yes, he kicks my butt, but this fight ends up being much closer than it should have been because he's got only infantry on the field, but we have a cavalry hero and an archer hero who are literally doing nothing and just sitting there watching the fight. So yeah, when you're strong enough you can get away with it, but when it's close and you've got this, if this were a little bit closer, I'd be able to take that march, right? This is why it's so important to understand the game. These things matter. Everything matters. Mixing your troop types up and finding the exact right mix for you, using your primary and then your secondary, is something you should always be experimenting with, and always watch these battle videos and see where things are going wrong for you. At what point the battle turns, where do you have the ability to change? Something that's going to put you at an advantage over the opposition, especially if the opposition is somebody who doesn't watch my channel and isn't familiar with the nuances of the gameplay, right? So I actually pillaged him just to see if I could, because I hit him with my archers. So what Odin did was he came back at me and hit me with his infantry because of the law of counters, right? Your counter to your counter is your secondary. So he is a cav primary and has inf secondary, and so if he ran into an archer like me that he couldn't beat with his primary, he can bust out a very strong secondary lineup with infantry and then he can win. I could always come back, if I had a third type, and if my cavalry was as strong secondary as his are, I could have come in and retaken this. And I've gotten into circles with people like that in the Sapphire Mines where you basically just stop pillaging each other because at the end of the day, you're just going to end up like going around in a circle and it's a waste of time. Yep, I'm talking about you. So my friends, as always, I hope this is helpful. If you have questions, please comment. Always checking comments and answering questions here, and it definitely helps the channel and driving engagement on the channel. So anything that you guys can do to help me out, thank you everybody as always for all the support.